Hallo en welkom bij deze speciale aflevering van de Vasten als Leefstijl Podcast. Vandaag deel ik aflevering 522 van de Engelstalige Intermittent Fasting Stories van Jen Stevens, waarin ik zelf te gast ben geweest. Ik ben haar ontzettend dankbaar dat ik deze aflevering volledig via mijn eigen kanalen mag delen, zodat we tweetalig nog meer mensen kunnen inspireren om hun gezondheid met vasten te verbeteren. Als je mijn Vasten als Leefstijl handboek hebt gelezen of lid bent van mijn Substack of Facebookgroep, dan is de kans groot dat je Jen Stevens al kent. Of misschien ken je haar tot nu toe alleen van haar boeken Delay Don't Deny en Fast Feast Repeat, waarin ze op een toegankelijke manier uitlegt hoe je het beste kunt vasten. Ken je haar nog helemaal niet? Dan hoop ik dat je hierna in ieder geval ook haar andere podcastafleveringen beluistert. De persoonlijke verhalen van andere vasters die hun gezondheid ook hebben verbeterd, zijn vaak heel inspirerend. Is je Engels niet zo vloeiend? Dan raad ik je aan om deze aflevering via mijn YouTube-kanaal te beluisteren. Daar kun je namelijk de ondertiteling inschakelen en automatisch naar het Nederlands laten vertalen. Via Jen's website staat er onder iedere aflevering een korte samenvatting die je door je browser naar het Nederlands kunt laten vertalen. Sinds januari heb ik trouwens weer diverse video's gemaakt. Ben ik een Substack gestart en heb ik ook nog een paar nieuwe cursussen ontwikkeld. Naast de cursus Starten met Vasten als Leefstijl, die inclusief de webversie van mijn Vasten als Leefstijl handboek is, kun je nu ook deelnemen aan cursussen die zijn gericht op het verbeteren van je lichaamsbeeld en het verminderen van stress. In mijn gezondheidsblog kun je al heel veel gratis informatie lezen of luisteren. Maar met mijn cursussen ga ik nog een stap verder en help ik je om deze kennis op een praktische manier toe te passen in je dagelijks leven. Ik wens je nu heel veel luisterplezier. Je kunt alle links, zoals altijd, in de beschrijving vinden.
Welcome to Intermittent Fasting Stories. I'm your host, Jen Stevens, author of the New York Times bestseller, Fast, Feast, Repeat, as well as the book that started it all, Delay Don't Deny. I lost over 80 pounds thanks to intermittent fasting, after learning how to delay my eating rather than denying myself the delicious foods I want to eat. Now, who's ready to hear an inspirational intermittent fasting story? That's why we're here. So let's get excited to talk to today's guest. Hi, everybody, and welcome to episode 522 of Intermittent Fasting Stories. Today, I'm here with Amanda Kortman. Amanda lives in Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and she is a weight consultant, helping people lose weight and also be healthy. She's an author. She has a podcast. She has a YouTube channel, and she is a member of our Delay Don't Deny community. Welcome, Amanda.
Yes, thank you very much for having me be here. I've been a fan for so long, so it's really nice to finally talk to you.
Well, it's great to talk to you. You know, I like to start by asking what brought you to intermittent fasting and when was that?
Let's start with the short story.
Okay.
The shortest story is because of my work as a weight consultant. And secondly, because I have a disease called endometriosis.
Okay.
If I go all the way back, I actually became a weight consultant because I was just tired of my constantly fluctuating weight. I've never been overweight, but I've always had been like a BMI of like 23, sometimes crept up to 24, almost 25, and then I got it back down again, calorie counting, doing the shakes, all that stuff. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yes.
At least everybody who has a tendency to gain weight easily. For me, it's even easier since I'm a wheelchair user since 2017
Okay.
because of herniated discs. I've had 2 surgeries, the first surgery was 23 years ago. And that at least made sure that I could walk, properly again for like 10 years. But since then, it's been going backwards. So, it just, the things I could do were less and less. And with this, and that makes it a lot harder to, stay on the proper weight.
Right, because you have a harder time being active.
Yes,
because
especially.
Yep.
Yeah,
I did not know that about you, Amanda. I did not know you were a wheelchair user.
Well, you can't see it. But...
No, now I can't. She just wheeled around and I can see it. But yeah, okay. So 2017, herniated discs, and your weight has been fluctuating, and it got harder.
That was actually, my first surgery was in 2003.
Oh, okay.
The second surgery was in 2013.
Okay.
But I was actually already a weight consultant then,
Oh, okay.
because of all the limitations and because I have a tendency to gain weight easily,
Hmm.
my weight has been fluctuated since I was a teen or something.
Yeah. I think
So
a lot of us can relate to that. We would
yeah,
go up, we would go down, we would go up
yeah,
farther, go back down, the
so
yo-yo.
annoying.
It
Yes.
is.
For me, it was just a small yo-yo. I've heard you've lost like 80 pounds. And
Right.
so many people in the community, people who've lost 100 pounds, 150 pounds just
Right.
with fasting or whatever they lost their weight with. And
Yeah.
then it's like, for me, it's just like 20-pound fluctuation at most. So it's nothing for a lot of people that are part of the community or basically everywhere. But for me, it was just a nuisance. And because the regular diet advice, it didn't work. I got so tired of it. I was like, okay, I'm going to do nutrition specialist course. That was in 2007. And then I was just like, okay, I really want to know. I'm a real questioner. I want to know stuff. I want to know what's behind
Right.
everything. And at that time, I was also couldn't really get a job because they couldn't find anything for me. So I was just like, oh, do a course. And I really liked the course. And people were asking me about nutrition, how I could lose weight. And my weight actually stayed stable around about BMI of 22. Actually talking in BMI because it's easier for me than the
Right.
pounds and the kilograms and doing all the measurements. So it's for everybody wondering BMI.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's right. Because that's a universal,
Yeah,
it's our mass. Whether you're using it in pounds and inches, you can also calculate it in kilograms
yeah,
and in all that. So it works. So,
yeah.
so when you took your nutrition specialist course in 2007, can you remember what the advice was, or what was the major guidance that you received in that?
Oh, it was the classic food pyramid
Yeah.
times. Eat 6 times a day, maybe even 7 times, and the classic stuff.
Yeah.
Even well, you know, did the course, and it helps, but just wasn't it. So when in 2011, my back was getting worse and worse. So I was like 80% disabled, but I still had to find a job. But they couldn't find anything for me. So they were like, well, do you want to do a course and maybe, change careers? Because I used to be an engineer officer. So
Oh,
I
okay.
was an engineer on the ships, but
Oh.
a couple of herniated discs will cut your career short if you're
Oh, yeah.
unlucky.
Yeah, I imagine so. So you needed something else. So it's good that you were able to pivot and find something that you really enjoyed doing.
It's just so much fun, helping other people, having a feeling that you can really make a difference, something you probably know everything about. With previously your Facebook groups and now with the community, it's just so nice helping other people, all the things you wished you'd learned like 20 years ago.
It's true. It really is a great feeling to know that your message is reaching others and you're doing that too. Tell me the name of your book. I don't want to make sure that we get to it. We have a lot more to talk about. What's your book
Oh,
called?
it's in Dutch.
Dutch. So anyone who's looking for a intermittent fasting in Dutch, Amanda is your girl.
Yeah, it's called Vasten als leefstijl, which directly translates to fasting as lifestyle.
Perfect. Perfect.
Because people were asking about the Dutch book, and I could only recommend your books.
Right.
So I was
Not
like,
in
oh,
Dutch.
yeah, but they aren't in Dutch. I actually looked into it. I tried to get it translated and everything. It wasn't possible. I had already started my podcast by that time, so I basically just wrote my own.
I love it. And
Took me 13 months, but
yeah, well, I think that's a great solution. Is your podcast in Dutch or English?
it's also in Dutch.
I love it.
Everything is in Dutch because your English, well, you're reaching everybody in English,
Right.
but there's not a lot of us in
Mhm.
Dutch. And well, most Dutch people and Belgian people can understand English very well, but not everybody.
Right.
And for some, it just goes too fast, so they're missing out on stuff. So I was like, well, people, they really need it. They really want to listen to it. So
I
that's
love
why I
that.
was like, I'll just start mine. I'd already started the blog in 2011, just when I was making my career change to a weight consultant. I was just like, oh, I'll just do the course of weight consultant and make everything official. I was already, helping my loved ones. So just like spreading it out a little bit. And that actually brings me to fasting because
Okay.
in 2012, I saw the documentary from Michael Mosley,
Mhm.
Eat, Fast and Live Longer. I believe it was in August or something. So I was like, hey, that sounds very interesting for my clients who have a lot of trouble losing weight. Because I was advising them, from what I've been told, also in 2011, the course I did then. It's like, eat 3 times a day, snacks in between so you don't get hungry and boost your metabolism and all the other BS.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
only thing I want to call it.
Well, it does. Eating boosts your metabolism.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
not as much as the calories of the food that you just ate. So
Yeah.
it's like
That's
it
what this
isn't
is.
a positive, like I ate 300 calories and boosted my metabolism by 200.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just made those numbers up. Those are not like the real
Yeah.
numbers, but you get the
Yeah.
gist. Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. That's the big problem, of course. But
Yeah.
then I was like, okay, they ended up calling it 5-2 diet, of course.
Right.
2 days where you only eat 500 calories as a woman and 600 calories as a man. But it was spread out over the day.
Right.
And fasting clean wasn't known, of course.
Right.
So I also experimented with it for like 2 years. I did 5-2 for a while. Ended up losing too much weight. Then I went to 6-1.
Okay.
And those fasting between brackets, they were horrible. They
Mhm.
were so tough. But the funny thing is that even in 2012, 2013, I already noticed that it was easier for me if I didn't eat anything in the morning.
Right.
So I didn't start eating until lunch. But of course, I was taking diet sodas and herbal teas,
Right.
to curb the hunger because I didn't know any better.
Yeah. And, I've got that dilemma today. Everybody might be able to hear that my throat is scratchy. So I had the way I catch a cold or get sick is like I feel a tickle and then I have another tickle and then I feel better. But like I had a little nose tickle 2 days ago and now my throat is scratchy. I feel great, but I have this throat tea that I would like to drink, but I don't want to drink it because I know
Yeah.
it would make me starving. So I'm holding off until I open my window. I have it on the counter so I can remember to drink it. But if I drink it now, I'd be starving.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's such a difference. Everybody, you've already heard it a million times. The
Uh-huh.
clean fast is everything.
It is. It is everything.
You're either fasting or you're not fasting.
Right. It's true. It's true. And so it was really, really challenging to do those 500-calorie days when you spread it out all throughout the day and also had the 0-calorie beverages.
Yeah.
And then when you realized skipping breakfast and pushing it back made it easier, that was a big discovery.
So I did that for a while, but I still kept on losing weight, but it wasn't in a healthy way.
Right.
Like my younger brother, he was like, "You're starting to look skinny,"
Oh,
but not in a good way.
right.
So I was also like, losing my figure. I was just like, well, this isn't really for me. But then at that time, there were still a lot of forums. I wasn't really active on Facebook yet. So then I read on the official forum of the 5-2 diet, fasting for 14 hours can also be great. So I was like, hey, I'll just skip to that. But because of the IBS problems I have and the medications I took, first thing in the morning, I probably fasted 12 hours at most.
Okay.
So I did that for a while. And the time in 2012 also met my now husband, tried to get pregnant. We tried for 5 years, even went to IVF and everything. That is when, after the second IVF attempt, that's when I found out I have endometriosis,
Okay.
which was the reason why we can't have children.
Oh,
So
I'm so
I had,
sorry.
yes, nothing you can do about it. But
I
I
know.
wish
Yeah,
they
it's
they
hard.
taken my all the things I told them about, like ovulation for me is very painful and all the different pains. And I was put on birth control when I was like 14 or 15 because I was bleeding a lot.
Right.
Classic signs of endometriosis, but I hadn't heard about endometriosis myself until they told me about it in 2018 after the second IVF attempt. It was like,
See,
well,
that's really frustrating because you
yeah,
had the classic symptoms and you would think that and now that you know what the symptoms are, you are like, yeah, there they were. They were always there. And so
yeah,
I know it's frustrating that the doctors didn't put it together for you.
yeah. Well, nothing you can do about it, and
Right.
besides telling other people about it.
Right.
So it's also something. I don't really fully focus on it, but whenever there's an article about endometriosis, I tell people that's how much fasting is helping me.
Okay.
Because after I had surgery in 2019 for endometriosis, they removed some. They found something, but it's really hard to find. It's like
Right.
looking for a needle in a haystack,
Right.
and the needle could be invisible.
Right.
And still, it's a full body inflammatory disease.
Okay.
Like they usually they tell it's about it in the belly and all the female parts all around that and everything, but they've actually found it in the brains as well. I read a case study a couple of weeks ago about a girl who was like 13, and every time she had a period, she also bled from one eye.
Oh my
They
gosh.
removed the tissue, and it was endometriosis tissue.
Wow.
Yeah, as somebody else, it was on the wrist. They basically found it everywhere, and also people on the nerves. So it's just like full, totally inflammatory disease throughout the entire body. But because I was still having a lot of symptoms, even though I had the surgery, it was like, okay, the regular way they suppress the symptoms is by putting you on birth control.
Okay.
But birth control is really bad for my mental health.
Okay.
It makes me really depressed.
Okay.
So that's when I really started digging. I was still doing a bed, 14, 10, all the scholars like that, because I felt a bit better. I've been having IBS problems for years, which is also a classic sign of endometriosis.
Wow.
It's like 1 in 10 people with IBS are women, and about 2/3 of people with endometriosis also have IBS.
Okay.
So that's like a lot, because most women first get the IBS, what do you call it? Diagnosis. And then they might then they might find out that they have endometriosis.
So it's just an inflammatory disease that can show up all over the body.
Yes.
And is highly correlated with IBS.
It's also highly correlated with autoimmune disease.
Okay.
Even though it's not an autoimmune disease, but it increases your chance of having an autoimmune disease by 3 times or something.
Oh, wow.
I don't know the exact figure. I should have written those down. But it's just like everything is connected. Like I have allergy symptoms, but I don't have any allergies except for gold and a couple of metals and some other stuff. I don't have a pollen allergy. But now the trees are already flowering. And before I started clean fasting, we'll get back to that later, the tears would run out of my eyes from the allergies.
Right.
And
me too. You've heard me talk about that. The difference that it made is remarkable. We're recording this in, I was going to say middle of February, but we're getting towards the end. February is flying by. It comes out in June. But yes, I used to have debilitating allergy symptoms, and I don't anymore. That's the inflammation coming down.
Inflammation makes such a difference.
Yeah.
But to battle the inflammation, I was like, okay, I don't want to be on the birth control anymore.
Right.
It just makes me so depressed. I have all the side effects. Didn't feel well. And I still had a lot of pain. I spent like half the time on pain meds. I bought them in bulk, basically, because of the issue, like the Tylenol, ibuprofen, even tried some stuff from the doctors. I was just like, it also, because it's such an inflammatory disease, it also causes a lot of exhaustion.
Okay.
So much exhaustion that you're just like, you don't want to do anything. You just want to lie on the couch with a hot water bottle on your belly and just waiting for the time to go to bed. That's basically how life can be. And then that was with the suppression of my symptoms. It was like, okay, I've got to look at something. So I ended up coming across fasting, and I read the research from the Mark Madsen, the effects of intermittent fasting on health, aging, and disease. And
Mark Madsen is awesome. And that was,
I love
you're saying 2019 is when he was really putting out some good stuff. He was a researcher from Johns Hopkins. He wrote some great research papers synthesizing what we knew about intermittent fasting at the time. And he's been doing it since the 80s. Personally. Yeah. He's awesome. So you saw that fasting was great for inflammation, I bet.
Yes. And it is an article he also talks about 18-6. I was like, 18-6, well, that should be doable. I fast about 14 to 15 hours a day anyway. I wasn't, of course, but at the time I thought I did. So, which is when I started, I was like, I'll just try 18-6. And I couldn't do it. It was way too hard.
Too hard.
So, way too hard. It was just like, okay, there's no way I can live like this.
Right.
So then I was like, well, let's see what I can find on the internet. So I started Googling intermittent fasting. Then I came across the Intermittent Fasting Podcast.
Good.
You've heard it before, but that was such a great name. Easy to find.
I know. It's so funny when Melanie, and that was the podcast I used to do with Melanie Avalon. We started doing it in 2017. And when she and I were trying to figure out a name, People were naming podcasts like Clever Things or, little play on words. And we were back and forth. And we're like, what about just the Intermittent Fasting Podcast?
Yeah.
That was a good idea because that helped people find it. Name things
Yeah.
simply.
Yeah. Probably listen to like the first 20 or something.
Uh-huh.
Then I got your original copy of Delay to Deny. And I finished that November 15 in 2020. And that's when I started the clean fast. So
Awesome.
the date I'm actually counting my fast anniversaries from is November 16th, 2020. So
I
for me,
love it.
it's been over 5 years now of clean fasting. And of course, I had to go through the adjustment phase. For me, it took about 5 weeks or something.
Okay.
Because even though I had a healthy weight, but because as a wheelchair user, it's a lot. I probably had a lot of problems with my insulin sensitivity.
Right.
Because I had all the symptoms. You're getting hangry all the time.
Right.
Couldn't go without meals, getting jittery and shaky and getting the headache. But luckily, when I started the clean fasting, it took about 5 weeks for the adjustment phase. At like 2 days that I spent on Tylenol because of the headache.
Right.
But having read the books, listening to all the podcasts, I've already started with Fasting Stories podcast, I believe, as well. So I knew what to expect. And that
Right.
makes such a huge difference.
It does. Because, if you had just tried 18-6, felt bad, it was too hard, quit doing it, said, well, I tried that, it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until you found the clean fast by doing more research that you realized, but even so, it was not easy on day one. It took you
No.
5 weeks for your body to adapt, but you knew that that was normal.
And that is something I really talk about often, also in my podcast and in my videos. I also have a Facebook group, Vasten Leefstijl Facebook group. So people know about it because so many people is like, oh, fasting doesn't work. I give up.
Yeah. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
Last week, in the past 7 days, we've had in the community, someone shared article, we were wrong about fasting. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
And then someone else shared another article from the news that said fasting doesn't work. And I'm like, come on now.
Yeah.
Every week it's like contradictory, but we know how many of these research studies are being done with the clean fast.
Yeah,
None of them.
And most studies only last 4 weeks.
Right. 4 weeks, you're not even adapted
It took me
yet.
5 weeks to
Right.
get through the adjustment phase.
Right. So if you're not fat adapted and you're not fasting clean, at the end of 4 weeks, you probably are not going to find that intermittent fasting has been a game changer for you.
Yeah.
But if you're fasting clean and you understand that your body has to adapt and you give it time, it just gets better and better as time goes on, which is why I just encourage everybody to take anything that is like proclaimed in headlines with a grain of salt
A big
and
grain of
understand
salt.
how they came up with that information.
Yes.
So we need
absolutely.
longer studies. They need to be the clean fast. They need to have people who are fat adapted. I would love to help somebody plan one, a study.
Yeah. Well, wasn't there a couple of weeks ago also a student or something was also in
I
the
did.
community?
I haven't heard back from him, but
Okay.
I would absolutely love to work with him. But
Yeah.
I would love to work with anybody. I mean, I have a doctorate. I understand research. My
Yeah.
master's is in science education. So I taught fourth graders how to control variables. So I understand all of that. But we just really need some studies on the clean fast and the difference in giving it time.
Yeah.
Because
At least
once
6
you've
months.
lived it, you
Yes.
understand it because everything we understand proves itself over and over again from people going through it.
Yeah. And also another thing, a lot of intermittent fasting studies are only about 14-10. And then,
Yeah.
or maybe 16-8 at most, but
Right.
especially what we can see in the community. And before that, on the Facebook group, it's like 500,000 people. How well 19.5 averagely seems to work.
Right.
It's just,
Exactly.
it's also the fasting schedule I follow.
19.5.
I average like 19.5. I always say I do 18.6, but 18 is basically my minimum because I need 18 hours for my IBS symptoms to stay as low as possible.
Okay.
I still have IBS symptoms, but one of my NSVs is just lowering my IBS meds to more than half. Like it will never be totally over. Same with my endometriosis symptoms and everything. They will never be totally gone, but they're so much lower. And that makes it so easy to stick to fasting, because so many people is like, oh, I have blah, 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 so I won't be fasting. I was like, or you just, shift around your eating window a little bit. Because for me, it works. Like I said, I need 18 hours at least for my IBS symptoms to stay as low as possible. So I can eat a larger variety of diet, because before that, I could only eat so little, basically. It was
I
just
see. I
really
think this
annoying.
it's got to be annoying to have IBS limit your diet, but it's really frustrating to me as someone who understands you're 522, episode 522,
Yeah,
and the amazing stories of things that improve with intermittent fasting. So whenever someone says, "Oh yeah, intermittent fasting doesn't work," here's our news article about it. Tell that to Amanda, who finds that
yeah,
an 18-hour daily fast makes her IBS symptoms more manageable and allows her to eat a more varied diet. If the only thing we're doing is head to head looking at what a scale does,
yeah,
shoot, I could tell people 100 ways to lose weight. You're going to lose more quickly than intermittent fasting, but it's going to be awful.
yeah,
You're not going to keep it up. You're going to yo-yo back.
yeah.
So
You're
anyway,
not going to feel as healthy.
no.
There's also such a huge difference, like I was saying, that like endometriosis causes so much of energy dump, basically. And now I have so much more energy. Just wish my back could held up, but at least mentally, I could just write everything. I have to lay down like every 1.5 hours for half an
Mhm.
hour. So I have a tablet hanging above me. I can just start typing stuff on it,
Oh,
or
you figured it out. But yeah, I know that having more energy is huge.
yeah, it makes such a huge difference. And also sleeping better. Although the sleeping better, that it really went downhill because of perimenopause.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be 45, but at the time this episode comes out, probably got hit with it kind of early, because they say the
Mhm.
average age is 51.
Right.
But then I read a study that the average age for women with endometriosis to go into menopause is 49.
Oh, wow. It makes sense because you've got hormonal issues related to the
Yeah,
endometriosis. And so your hormones are going to, shut down production maybe a little earlier. Right. And
yeah.
yeah, the sleep difference, like I can
Oh,
remember
yeah.
I could sleep anywhere, anytime, under any situation. But now I'm like, I need to cover the lights up. It's too bright in here. No clock. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
sleep hygiene becomes way more important.
Yeah. But because of all the things you've been talking about, which I'm really grateful for, is also like the hormone therapy.
Right.
Because I started hormone therapy April 2024. I just started instantly with micronized progesterone,
Right.
because I knew about the bioidentical. I'd already dug into it earlier, also for one of my podcast episodes and everything. And just like estrogen through the skin, not the
Right.
pills, because
Right.
that's just a lot better. And I also have the vaginal estrogen, because I'm
Mhm.
having a lot of bladder issues.
Right.
I actually had to catheterize myself because of bladder issues,
Oh,
which totally
yikes.
went away when I started the estrogen.
See, that's just amazing. We hear so many stories from older women who start to have a lot of UTIs or
Yeah,
other bladder issues, and it's because of our hormones.
yeah.
And
So
this
many
the
people don't
solution
know.
is hormones.
Yeah, even my urologist didn't know about it.
Wow.
I actually just talk to my regular doctor about it. It's like, well, I've read about this and this, and I keep on having the UTIs, and having to take, D-mono, the cranberry, and all the other stuff you keep on trying that they recommend, and it's just a hard time. But in my case, it's just like, well, maybe it's because of your spine. You already have the IBS issues, which are probably mostly linked to the endometriosis.
Right.
So it's like so many things that can be caused by one thing or caused by the other thing, that half the time you don't even know, like, oh, where's this symptom from? I don't know. I don't know anymore. I'm just trying to do the best I can, you know, and just, knowing all the things, like I was saying earlier, I'm also a questioner. I want to know why.
Me
Why
too.
do things happen? What's the background of it? So it's so much easier to try to solve it, at least as most as possible.
Yeah, and when you realize your doctor might not know, and
Yeah.
it feels so good to have the information and share it with your doctor, and we love the doctors that are open and listening and ready to explore learning something new because we can't all know everything.
No, absolutely not.
Your doctor doesn't know everything about everything. They only know what they know. So never be afraid to share something. And the way your doctor responds when you share is important. You want a
Yeah,
doctor who listens and he says, "Oh, let me look into that." Right.
yeah. My doctor, well, I've had the same doctor for like last 8 years now, since we moved to this part of Rotterdam. My doctor knows by now that when I come with something, it's something that I've researched. So he was like, okay, you want to try this and that? Oh, well, these are the regular guidelines. We'll just start you with this and I'll see you in a couple of weeks, which actually should have been like 3 months when you start on the hormones.
Right.
But, oh, well, Eve definitely doesn't know anything. And when I had to switch to a different topical version of estrogen, he was like, I'll be sending you to a gynecologist because I don't know anymore. But at least he admitted his limitations. And now I have a great gynecologist. I actually talked to her yesterday. It's like the second, every 3 months we talk on the phone, knowing how things go and anything needs to be adjusted and everything. And
That's awesome. And she understands the hormones.
yeah. And
that's good.
Because I researched her through one of a really good bioidentical Dutch Facebook group.
Oh, good.
So they also have a list of the doctors from the various hospitals and everything. Like, well, this one is good for bioidentical hormones and everything. So everybody in the Netherlands, definitely look up that group.
That's really important, because I didn't realize you would assume as a woman, knowing that we have all of our female parts and our female hormones, we would assume every OBGYN would also be a hormone expert. We would assume that. But after, knowing Dr. Tabitha Barber and Dr. Deb Matthew, who have been on my podcasts, that's not true. They don't, unless they go looking for more education. Hormonal training is not part of standard OBGYN training, which is shocking.
Yeah.
And I think they might need to update that a bit. But
yeah, just a little bit.
Time to do a little updating because they should be the experts. But a lot of doctors recognize those holes and have gone to look for more information.
Yeah, I'm really grateful for that. Or even just to my doctor for like saying, I don't know, I'll just send you to somebody who does know. Who do you want to see?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's the best. A doctor who is willing to listen. That's what we want. We don't need a doctor who knows everything because we want a doctor who's willing to admit they may not know everything and willing to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it makes such a difference. It's so nice having the internet at your fingertips, but it's also, there's so much bad information as well. Also about fasting, of course, like you were saying earlier, about all the studies. I'm actually thinking about recording a new short about the bad studies because also when the study came out about was it 93% higher chance of heart disease or something like that?
Yeah, that was crazy.
I had to make a podcast episode about it because I was driven crazy because people kept on sending me messages like, no.
No, when you really looked into it, you realize that's not a fasting study. Those people were not fasting. They weren't even claiming that they were fasting. They just they did a questionnaire over 4 days 10 years ago, and but it was or something like that. I don't remember all the details, but it was nuts. That was not intermittent fasting. It was like people who, anyway.
Yeah, people who didn't eat breakfast.
Right. They claimed they didn't eat breakfast. What did they have?
Yeah. It could have been a candy bar, it could have been a full macchiato, whatever, a coffee.
Oh, I don't eat till later, but I just have chips and a latte and
a Diet Coke and a piece of chocolate, but I didn't have breakfast.
Right. I did. It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Those are not high quality studies that we want to be getting information from. I mean, it's interesting. We can file it away and say, I wonder what this means, but we can't make conclusions.
No,
I mean, literally fourth graders could figure that out, which is why it is hilarious. I remember when I was still teaching towards the end of my teaching career, I can't remember. I'd already written my book or I might have already written my second book, Feast Without Fear, but I was teaching fourth graders, gifted kids about, they did a science project where they have to follow the scientific method from question through conclusion, do all the steps. They had to do it 100% at school. So mom and dad were not doing it. It was happening at school. And I taught them about controlling variables and all of that. And at the same time, I was reading something. It was an article it was a nutrition study, and it was terrible. It was comparing like 2 diets or something, or 2 dietary approaches. And I read the methodology to my fourth graders. Okay, these are 9-year-old children.
Yeah.
And they're like, what? Those are different variables. The groups are not the same. I'm like, exactly. Fourth graders can figure it out. Now, that being said, it's really hard to control variables in humans.
Yeah.
Because there's so many variables. You change one thing, it changes something else. But they could identify flaws in the study. So we could do it.
Absolutely.
It is just important to look.
And most people only look at the headlines.
It's true. It's true. And when you dig in, like, okay, where's the evidence? What is this coming from? And then you can figure it out. So everybody listening, once people find out you are a faster, a negative headline comes up, they're going to send it to you and say, see, I told you. Or they're going to be like very upset.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's so annoying. But I also sent out a newsletter, by the way. And every month, it's a monthly newsletter in which I also share about 3 or 4 studies about fasting. So
I love that.
Also, digging through the studies. I give them a small summary. And if they want, they can just click the link to really read the entire study. Or sometimes it's just a small bit. So people know that I'm not just talking about anything. And also with my podcast episodes, every time it's important. I've got studies linked. I've got pages full of all the references in my book as well. Because so many people are just like sending all the bad articles. Also, I listened to a podcast this morning from a Dutch, he's also, not sure how you call it in English, a hoogleraar, Jaap Seidel. Some people may recognize him, but he's also, they were also talking about how the latest news headlines is like fasting isn't really effective. But even the people in the study were saying that the studies were bad they were working with. And he was also
the people knew it was bad that were doing it. That's so funny.
And also the person Jaap Seidel was talking to, the podcast host, he was like, well, it doesn't mean fasting doesn't work, blah, blah. And Jaap Seidel was like, well, just said that the studies are bad.
Right. So the way we can tell, we always have to move beyond just the abstract. And so what we want to read the methodology, like how did they do it? Yeah. And then we really want to dig into the results, like what they found out. That section's always important. And then the conclusions are important to read all of that. But understanding the methodology is so important.
Yeah. And also the amount of subjects.
Right.
And the ages and the gender. Yeah. All those variables. It's just so important. And so many people just jam everything together. But which is really, what I really liked about the Mark Madsen study from it was end of 2019, I believe it came out. Well, I didn't find it for almost a year later because I was digging into ways to lower my inflammation. But it was just crazy. Like I was saying earlier, it took me about 5 weeks to go to the adjustment phase. I was still on birth control then, but I quit it after 5 months. And most of my symptoms were already gone.
That's amazing.
That's just, I still have endometriosis. I still have some pains. I actually also had another surgery because the first surgery, so much was missed because it's such a hard to find disease.
Right.
But I know without fasting, I'd probably still be on pain meds.
Yeah.
And also I had to keep a strict FODMAP diet. And just to control my IBS symptoms, I'd be using an antihistamine 24/7. Instead of now just like, a tree at the other side of the street is blooming. I'll just take half a pill maybe. Because like last night I took half a pill because of this podcast, because the pollen really affects my voice.
Oh, yeah.
So even though I'm not allergic to pollen, because of the inflammatory effect of endometriosis, it looks like I have hay fever.
Okay. So you used to have to follow a low FODMAP diet for your IBS, and now you do not have to.
No.
That's amazing.
It's only beets. I still really avoid, and I don't eat beets. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really sad.
Well, for me, it was like, I don't
Unless
really
you don't like them.
I don't hate them.
Right.
I'm just like, I can miss them. It's not that bad. But and also wheat, just the regular wheat. I actually make my own sourdough bread. And buns and everything. Just a real sourdough, not the stuff you buy in the store because it's just crap.
Yeah.
They usually add yeast to it, so you already know it's not real. Plus, using spelt instead of wheat, it's also a lot easier to digest.
Oh,
but,
wow.
But besides that, I don't really follow a strict diet or everything.
You figured out what works for your body and what doesn't, what you need. So prior to intermittent fasting, you needed a low FODMAP diet to control your IBS, but now you just have to wheat and beets.
Yeah, and if there's some small things, and it's just like, no, don't eat too much of it.
Right.
And then I'm fine. But besides that, everything I can eat has become so much more. And now it's mostly like stuff I don't want to eat because it's just like nasty. Because I've become such a food snob.
I
It's
love it
terrible.
though. Yeah.
You
Well,
know?
but we get it. We're like, I'm not eating that food. That doesn't look good.
Yeah. It's like, that's not real food.
Right,
Do you
right.
have any real food?
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. No, I
Yeah.
get it. So I love that intermittent fasting has lowered your inflammation to the point that you can eat more foods because
A lot more
it's no fun
foods.
to have to restrict.
No, it's such a pain. It's also so nice because also for my skin and everything, I still have a little bit of rosacea, like the red color
Hmm.
around my nose. But I used to be able to see like veins running over my nose.
Oh,
So it's all from inflammation. It totally went down. Also linked to endometriosis, but it also lowered so much. Also, yeah, the other things like not being hungry all the time. I used to live like, okay, it's breakfast time. When can I have my snack? Because my doctor, because of my IBS symptoms, was saying, like, you just eat small meals, that's better for you. And now I eat 2 large meals. I team it because that just works so much better for me. I have a large lunch and a smaller dinner,
okay.
and usually within 5 hours. But
Uh-huh.
like I was saying, I always say I do 18-6, and tonight we're going out to dinner. So I ate at 2 p.m. We're going out to dinner at 5:30. So I'll probably be finished by 7:30 or something. So probably still have a 5-hour meeting window.
Right.
I just moved it around a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
because I've also noticed just eating within 6 hours is best for my satiety.
Yeah.
Because like I was saying, I was always hungry. And now I'm just like, oh yeah, it's past 1 or something. Let's have some lunch or something because otherwise it will be too early for my dinner.
I love that the realization that you're not hungry all the time with fasting, but you need to eat 2 meals within, to bookend your window, 5
Yeah.
hour, 6 hour, whichever works out. But that is what gives you satiety
Yes.
and I imagine allows you to maintain at a healthy weight.
Yeah, I've been the same weight for about 4.5 years now. Also been I actually looked it up. Before I started fasting, I had a BMI of 23 and it was 143 pounds. And now I'm on 132, which gives me a BMI of 21 and a half.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'3",
Okay.
167. So I'm
Okay.
almost 5'6". I also had to look that one up. But it
So
was actually funny because, especially in Fast Feast Repeat and also in the second edition of the Late of the Night, you talk about not weighing in the first month. I was just weighing because of pure curiosity. And like the
right.
first week, I lost 5 pounds of water weight.
Wow.
And then it took me about another 5 months to lose another 5 pounds.
Hmm.
But yeah, so yeah, you could say that I've lost about 10, 11 pounds. Weight fluctuates a little bit. I actually stood on the scale this morning for the first time in like 4 months. And I'm still about
Yeah.
132.
So
It's
you just don't
like,
even have to worry about it. You
uh,
just you lost the weight and the inflammation and you feel so much better. So that's the part that's so important. If we said in a headline, yeah, intermittent fasting is no better for weight loss than any other diet. I mean, we could say, Amanda, you could have lost 10 pounds 1,000 different ways.
yes.
And you could be maintaining it 1,000 different ways. So, on the surface, all right, maybe intermittent fasting is, quote, not any better for
Yeah.
weight loss if you're just strictly looking at the scale number.
Yeah.
But those other ways, would they have given you the relief from your IBS? Would they have allowed you to introduce more foods? Would they have reduced your endometriosis pain? So we got to dig deeper beyond just what is the scale number doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, coming back to the IBS symptoms, one of the things that's also linked to endometriosis is what they call endobelly. It's
Okay.
like at the end of the day, your belly looks like you're 6 months pregnant. I actually used to wear a size jeans larger because at the end of the day, it was too tight. And now I could just wear the same, my regular size jeans in the morning and in the evening, it's still comfortable.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we should not have that kind of bloating. Is
Yeah.
endometriosis also linked to gut microbiome issues? I mean, I would
Yeah.
imagine yes, since we have the
Also,
IBS component and the
yeah.
bloating just made me think.
Because of the inflammation, it also affects the gut microbiome.
Right.
Because for me, it's also really important to, if I eat high fiber, also high
Right.
protein,
Mm-hmm.
and that really works well for me. So, and also with the fiber, like the 30 Plant Challenge, I've actually started recording it in last January
Love
again.
it.
And after 50 plans, I was like, I'm not writing any more down this
Right.
week. I'm tired of it.
Yeah. Trying to get in a lot of plants, adding them in. That's a really fun challenge. I have that in my Eat Like a Grown Up program
Oh, yeah.
as the first thing you can do is it's a bonus challenge. It's not week 1, but it's something
Yeah.
that you'll want to carry on throughout the whole program. But trying to get in 30 plants a week. I should start counting mine. Years ago, I did that, maybe 2021. I can't remember, but I was counting for the month. So I was trying to see how many different plants I could get over the course of a month. And I mean, it was over 100 every time that I did it, but I've never tried to do 30 a week. It's a good recommendation because it gives us all the different phytochemicals that our bodies need.
Yeah. Yeah. That, for me, it's also so much fun because usually my lunch, I have like 2 or 3 portions of fruits. I usually take berries. Oh, I have a berry mix of like 6 different kinds.
Yeah.
Either add banana or apple or maybe probably still some fruits or whatever. Today I had grapes because they were for sale and I was like, oh, grapes, have been a while. I have so much stuff also in my freezer, all the different kinds of fruits and also with vegetables. I love vegetable mixes.
Yeah.
Especially the frozen ones because they're like so much cheaper. It saves you so much time. You just need to have a separate freezer.
Yeah.
But besides that, it's so much easier. Also nuts and seeds, all plants. It's so easy to add to your diet if you just a little bit.
And it's true when we think about how people ate traditionally, plant foods were really at the center of everything. I was just in, this from you're in the community, but I was just in Puerto Rico for a week.
Yeah.
And I guess I could announce this now since I've announced in the community. I am seeing somebody. Very exciting. When I, announced that I was getting divorced, I was like, well, I'm just going to be alone forever. I really thought I was. But then I went to my college reunion a few months after that. I'm seeing someone I went to college with. We have the same friend group, which is amazing. Like my sorority sisters, his fraternity brothers all married each other. And so we went to Puerto Rico with a group for Wake Forest baseball. But while I was there, Chris is his name, and he is a foodie. So he researched all the James Beard nominated restaurants and chefs. And we went all around Puerto Rico and we ate traditional food and delicious, amazing food. But the number of plants that were at the highlight of every meal. I mean, we had just really amazing food the whole time. And, eating traditional Puerto Rican food and taro and plantains. And it was really incredible. Some of the best food I've ever had.
Whenever we want to go out for dinner or anything, we only go out a couple of times a year. So then I really dig at, okay, which restaurant do we really want to go to?
Right.
Where do they have actual food, real
Plants.
food, good food?
Yes. High quality food.
Yeah, definitely. I also eat meat. We eat vegetarian about 3-4 times a week.
Right.
But the meat that I get is organic. I'm just okay, the money I'm saving by not eating meat every day, I spend on buying higher quality meat.
Right. That's exactly true. That makes a lot of sense. I did learn I don't like lamb. I didn't think I did, but I don't. There was a lamb dish in one of the places we went to. I'm no. So it's not for me. But Chris is also an intermittent faster, by the way. So
yeah, I've read about it. It's so
I
much
shared
easier.
it in the community. So So, and our windows are very aligned.
Oh, that's really nice.
It's really, really nice. He has a very similar window timing to me. One day we were in Old San Juan. We walked up and down Old San Juan. We walked 7 miles.
Yeah.
We didn't open our window till dinner.
Yeah. It's just
and
so
it was just amazing. And we had great energy. We had a lovely dinner and it was great. So I love all of the non-scale victories that you've had, Amanda. Are there any that you haven't shared? Because you've really shared so many.
Go back to the skin because I also have eczema.
Okay.
Also linked to endometriosis.
Yes.
I'm
not surprised.
I also have psoriasis, but I don't have it on my elbows and knees anymore. I still have a little bit on my feet and on my toenails, but besides that, it totally disappeared.
That's
amazing. Also, the eczema on my scalp totally disappeared.
Wow.
And also on my hands and feet, it's a lot less now. It's still not totally gone, but right now it's also winter time. In the summer, I barely even have it anymore. So all the inflammation that went down. Yeah, my waist went down from 29.5 to 27.
Wow.
And the only downside that I've noticed is that I have to get a haircut sooner.
Your hair is growing too fast.
I have to get a haircut every 7 weeks instead of every 10 weeks. And I have to file my nails more.
Well, darn it. Darn it, that
Yeah.
extra hair growing and nail growing. Yeah, my nails are strong. My hair is strong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
So
good benefits to have, right?
yeah, absolutely. Which is also the reason why I'm so enthusiastic about it, because
Mhm.
as I was saying, I was started November 16th of 2020, and in March the next year, I already started my Vasten Leefstijl Facebook group to share all the other things I've already come across, just to share it with other people. And you know how groups go, or
Mhm.
also in the community, like people asking the same question again and
Over
again.
and
You
over
know, it's just
forever.
like, okay, I'm just going to start a podcast.
Yeah.
And when I started the podcast, so I was like, okay, here's your answer. This episode.
Right. Oh,
So I
it's
kept
so
on sharing
true.
the episode.
Yeah.
And then people would like complain that the episodes were too long. I was like, okay, I'm going to start making videos now. I'll probably
Right.
mostly make short. So now I can send them, here's a short. And do you want
Right.
a long answer? Here's the podcast episode. You want
Yeah.
a more deep dive? Here's my book. You have
Yes,
to pay for the book though.
absolutely. Right. It's true. You want everything, here it is in the book.
Yeah.
Everything you need. There it is. Yeah.
I've also made a course about fasting. That is really a real beginner course. So
Right.
people go. It's not really like the 20, like your 28-day fast start, but mostly about, okay, what's fasting? How can you really build it up? I also have 1 week that's totally focused on eating,
Right.
because, well, as a weight consultant, eating is still my main focus. But
Right.
it's just like, oh, you're just limiting the time that you're eating. I mean, you have to eat on health, because you can't outfast a bad diet.
Well, it's true. And for me, it unfolded naturally. I started eating better. And
Yeah.
I wonder, would it have if I wasn't running Facebook groups and, invested in being a questioner and
Yeah.
digging into diet and how important that was, learning about the gut microbiome in
Yeah.
2017, when a lot of people were not talking about the gut microbiome in 2017.
Yeah.
But my book, Feast Without Fear, is about the gut microbiome and the blue zones and eating a lot of plants. And so naturally, that made me make changes. So it kind of happened naturally for me. But I cannot overstate the importance of choosing real high quality foods. And, I'm glad that society is catching up to that idea, the more research that's been done. I mean, we weren't even using the words ultra processed foods in 2017, but now we understand them. So that was why I came up with Eat Like a Grown Up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so important. And that's also one of the things I really hammer down on with my clients. Because for me, I've also heard that you started asking the question, what does eating like a grown up mean for you?
Well, you're getting that question. Tell us now.
Well, for me, it's making it easy to eat healthy.
Right,
Like I have Omni Cooker, which is like a slow cooker on steroids.
right,
So it's so easy. You just throw a meal together, and in the evening you have a lovely meal. It's totally healthy. You don't lose anything. You lose a little bit of vitamin C, but you lose it anyway.
right.
And also, I have a big freezer. And for my 44th birthday, I got an ice cream maker. It's
Oh,
the ice cream deluxe, and I
mhm,
actually make healthy ice cream. No added sugar, no added sweeteners,
right.
and it's just fruit. I like to add cottage cheese, so it's also high protein, because I do
Mhm,
really well on high protein. And just have some vanilla powder, with 100% vanilla. Nothing besides that added. A little bit of gelatin, although there are also vegan options, but I just had gelatin lying around. And that's pretty much it.
that sounds amazing.
And you can mix and match so much. So it's also really nice to add some almond flour and maybe
Ooh,
some milk, or some soy milk, or whatever you want to use, which I had 100% cacao and peanut butter. And
ooh, I
then
would
with
love that
banana,
one.
and then the
Yeah,
cottage cheese. Oh, it's delicious.
that sounds so good. Yeah,
And no added sugars, all
right.
real ingredients. And
Mhm.
that's just like, make it easy to eat healthy.
Yes, and we can
That's,
do it. It's just a matter of planning and
yes.
swapping and shifting
Yeah.
and
Also,
prioritizing nourishing our body well.
yeah.
So, Amanda, we are almost out of time. What would you tell someone just starting out with intermittent fasting, or what do you wish you knew when you first started?
I have two answers. First of all, fast clean.
Right.
And second, be patient. Because of my allergy, I also had what they call autoallergy syndrome,
Wow.
which is when you react to fruits and vegetables and nuts like you're allergic to them, but it's caused by hay fever
Oh,
symptoms. And it took me 1.5 years of clean fasting, but I totally got rid of it.
wow. That's
That was
awesome.
more than 3.5 years ago.
Mhm. That's
So,
incredible.
so many benefits that nothing. I was already eating healthy when I started fasting. I became more and more of a food snob in the
Yeah.
meantime, But I was already eating so healthy, and just adding the fasting makes such a huge difference, and which is why I'm also so enthusiastic about it. That's why I share it everywhere. My parents also do 18-6.
I love it.
So that's really nice, and I'm still trying to get everybody else to do it. My husband won't listen.
Well, I understand.
But I hope maybe eventually. He's not really a breakfast eater, but he'll take a diet soda. So yeah, that's not really healthy.
No,
But,
no. Well, what can you do?
About it.
Yeah. But Amanda, it has been so lovely to talk to you today. And thank you so much for sharing your story and for spreading the word about intermittent fasting in Dutch.
Yes. Thank you very much for giving me all the resources to help me learn about the clean fast and expanding upon it. It made such a huge difference for so many people. I also have my own WhatsApp group. It's my own small community. Also, shout out to my Vasten Leefstijl Facebook group and WhatsApp community.
I love it.
Also to my fasting friends. They're also on WhatsApp. I met them through the community.
Love it. We are changing the world, Amanda.
Yeah.
One intermittent faster at a time.
Absolutely. Bedankt voor het luisteren en vergeet niet dat je de onderwerpen en bronnen altijd in de omschrijving van de aflevering kunt vinden. Weet je niet zeker of sommige tips of adviezen ook voor jou geschikt zijn? Bespreek ze dan natuurlijk altijd met je arts. Heb je nog vragen of opmerkingen? Lijkt het je leuk om geïnterviewd te worden? Of heb je behoefte aan persoonlijke begeleiding? Kijk dan op valorie.nl voor meer informatie.